Ready? You already hit the thing?
Yep.
Oh. Bonjour, good morning. Today is October 8th, 2020, 9 a.m. Special meeting. We will call the meeting order at 9:07 a.m. Al, do you roll call, please?
District 1 here. District 2.
Here.
District 3. District 3.
Oh, here.
We have a core. We're good. Next up is review and approval of the agenda. Kind of late today. We've got a lot of stuff going on today. I know we got the Minnesota Department of Health right now is going through their tribal, like the 11 tribe consultation, not consultation, but like briefings and our priority list, I'm sorry. And that's going on right now on Zoom or WebEx. And so to get on that right away, I have to do my introduction here soon too. So then we got a funeral in town, and then we got, who's going over to a poll at 2 o'clock or 2:30?
3 o'clock.
3?
Yep, 3
Oh,
today.
assistant,
For that bus.
Yeah.
yeah, for the interior, Mark Cruz will be in town from the Department of Interior.
You said you were Kathy?
Oh, hi.
All right, next up is the review and approve the agenda. Anybody have anything to add?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I met with Cass Lake Community Council, and I
Okay.
just want to bring up their concerns.
Oh, did you go over there now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to.
my other stuff I think can be handled on them.
Okay, yeah, and I think they can address things too on the end of the month we just passed up too. So Ricky, he could sign or something, so.
But I
That's
just
good.
want to bring up what they,
Yeah,
know,
I think there's a lot of elders that need assistance over there. I know I was talking to Curry, elders that live over on each lake, and that they need help.
I got a hell of a call. She's going to get calls with every day. She needs screwing on the trailer. She don't give, let me tell you. She's hammering, but this morning I got stuck on the phone and I got that talk.
You guys have anything?
Yeah, but I asked for Doug to be on there. I
Okay.
had a meeting on yesterday afternoon in my office. There was some stuff I couldn't answer, so.
And I know that we're still kind of waiting for Congress to hopefully approve or get something across, to the president to sign, so extend our COVID-19 monies, and we're still kind of, hopefully that's gonna be a last minute thing, but I know right now we're working on our priorities and getting stuff accomplished on this side too, so. But yeah, so. Okay. Kathy, you have anything to add?
I heard it.
Okay.
I have nothing to add.
Miigwech, motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Ray, second.
Second.
Second by Kathy, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I got possible with Chad. I don't think I'm gonna go there. I had a brother-in-law pass away yesterday.
Oh,
So they're
condolences.
back as soon as we can.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
you know Mike
that's-
Lee.
I don't know, Al, you going over there?
Hmm?
You going over to Mark Cruz?
I haven't thought about it yet. I might have some appointments to go to.
All right, next up is a review and the approval of the meeting minutes for 10/1/20.
I don't have nothing on.
Ray Housing got another $700,000 too, huh? Housing got another $700,000. What's that, what's her name, Virginia put it up to
Yeah,
the grant.
Virginia?
She didn't actually say what it was.
You know what that was for, Al?
Mhm.
Healthy home with every grant, so I'm not sure what they're targeted.
I got a clarification. on Page 1 of 5.
Yep.
So it discusses ordinance number 165.
Yep.
The discussion on that, Mr. Chair. So I just want to make sure that I have it clear for the record that, and I'd have to watch the video again, but I haven't watched the video again, been busy, but, did you state that, should I be elected, that I should be compelled to leave the RBC?
Well, I guess I probably have to watch it too again, so I guess I can't clarify that either. But that's something we could probably table till we maybe look at it.
Well, it's just a reflection for the minutes, so I have it captured in the minutes correctly.
Yeah, I think with this, I know our legal and TC legal kind of, we got a memo from Gary and, was it Phil? Who was it from? That they expressed some stuff that there's, I think the interpretation was, like, I don't know, what was it again? Not removal, or it's Article 10, but it was like a sitting, or how did it? I have to get more information, but I know there's something in there, but
I just want, just for the minutes itself, Mr. Chair, just if you could clarify right now to me, because I'm the secretary, I'm responsible for the minutes. So if you could clarify for me, was it your intention that Alan Roy be compelled to be removed from the RBC when he's
No.
elected? No?
It wasn't removed. I guess when I talked about it, I guess it was for the future of our band of aspirations, or, if your intentions is to be a tribal leader, or it's something that we're gonna have to review it, and I think that we will have to maybe table the minutes to get correct information off this.
Yeah.
And I think we could table these till next week, and we'll approve them next Thursday, so.
Well, I have, I just want to make sure, I'll just ask one final time, Mr. Chairman. So, was it your intention then
No,
that Alan Roy should be removed from the RBC when he's elected?
I didn't say removed, so.
Or what did you mean then? Could you clarify?
Well, it would be a choice.
Whose choice?
Well, I mean, that's something that we probably have to relook at it again, and then we'll get back to it, so.
So, because 165 is in the minutes, Mr. Chair, so I'll jump to my second question then.
Yes.
So you mentioned the legal opinion that was returned from Mr. Brodeen. And in the memo that was written by the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe Legal Department, they clearly stated that your intention to amend the bylaws in the manner in which you did would be.
Not mine. It would be the people. Remember, it would go out for 15 days. It was not like I was trying to change it that day. It was to push it up to the 15-day period
So they.
Of Article 65.
But their response is that if the RBC acts upon that ordinance in the manner in which it did, it would be constitutionally suspect. Well, those were the exact words of the legal department, as I recall.
But, I mean, I guess I'm going by the acknowledgement of Article 65, where we had to put it out for public comment. That's all I said, is we could put it out there, and that was let the people speak to see what they feel about some of this.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It wasn't, I mean, it was nothing about taking you out or removing you. I just wanted to hear from our membership. That's all it was.
So one final clarifying question, Mr. Chair. So it's reflected in this set of minutes then, is the only people, the way the ordinance is written, is that can amend the bylaws are the sitting members of the RBC.
Yep.
Right? So is it your intention to amend those bylaws as you discussed?
To amend those bylaws. Well, like I always said, when we sit there in our TEC meetings, is like, I won't make a motion or vote on anything unless I hear from all of our membership. And that's one of the things when it comes to anything from land transfer to I-65, if I don't, get a clear definition of what our people want to, how they want to take this path. And this is the same thing I said before, is like, that's why in the acknowledgement, there's 15 days for public comment. So I want to hear from the people. That's what I said the whole time since I ran for chairman, is I have to hear from the people.
Okay, but
From our membership.
I'd like you to.
There's nothing like me personally or whatever.
Yeah.
This comes from the people.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
if you look at the,
Did you state that you wanted to, I said, well, why don't you just wait until the thing is resolved? We don't know what's gonna happen anyways.
Yep.
Then you stated, as I recall, and it's not in the minutes, but it should be, well, this should be resolved before the election. Did you not state those words?
Well, I think the 15-day period and what we find out or what we could do, now since the thing came back from Phil and I'm still kind of looking at that, is just to hear back from the people. Maybe they don't want it. This is something that I feel like we have to hear back from the membership. You which?
Okay.
You. All right, so we'll table these minutes.
So are you, just one final question. Is it your intention to amend the bylaws?
Well, we ain't taking any action today on it.
Yeah, but is it your intention
To what?
to amend the bylaws
Pertaining to,
pertaining to the discussion that you had? And the discussion we're having right now?
well, it's not up to the people yet. That's how it works. We have to follow our bylaws. We can't take action unless we hear from our membership. That's how I look at it. I know when, I'm not even gonna talk about history, but that was something that was, I'm gonna do that later. Hey, Lynn. So,
Okay, and then, moving along for the minutes as well, Mr. Chair. So, I haven't seen the minutes just yet for, I'm glad Mr. Feinday just walked in the door. There was a memo that Mr. Feinday had provided in a previous meeting. I think it may have been the last meeting or the meeting before that. And I think it was actually the last meeting, so I didn't see it in the minutes here. I'd like to make sure that memo is reflected, that it was requested from Mr. Feinday and that he produced it under executive session. And I'd like to have that, because I had requested the memo in open session and then he provided it in executive session. I would like to request that memo be released to the public.
that's it. Yeah,
So I'll just say that as the attorney for the RBC, what I provide is confidential under attorney-client confidentiality. And that privilege rests with me as the attorney. As the client, you're free to do with that information as you feel fit.
So it's publicly available then?
yeah, as far as I know.
Feel safe, is what he was saying.
Okay.
And I guess I got one thing too, Al, is if you're gonna take time off, like come in and tell Evan that you're taking 4 hours off or 5, I need something in writing.
Mhm.
I'm your supervisor.
Sure.
I gotta see how much time you're taking off and where you're gonna be at.
Mhm.
I sent a memo about that too. So if we're gonna talk about I-65, I need to see your request for time off.
Okay, so I think you can clarify that for all of the RBC of what are our duty hours?
Yep.
How much PTO we have?
We don't have PTO.
Oh, we don't have PTO?
Nope.
So if I don't have PTO, then what are the duties? If you could, please clarify that for the full RBC.
Yep.
Now, I want to remind you, you cannot compel me to accept money.
Accept money, what do you mean?
I do not have to accept a salary from you.
Yeah, but you gotta let me know what hours you're taking off or where you're gonna be at.
It's a pay issue. But if I don't want to be paid,
Yeah, but I need to know.
I do. I put
You
it
have
in.
to put it in writing to me,
I do put it in writing.
not to me.
Oh, okay. But if you could clarify that for the full RBC,
Yeah.
because I know you have RBC members that go to medical appointments,
Yeah.
that go to other places.
Yeah, I mean, all of them tell me where they're gonna send me a text or what's going on.
Sure.
Yeah, but you can't come in and tell the girls that you're not gonna be here, you're taking 5 hours of not paid. I need to know. You can send me a text. It's not hard to send me a text or send me a quick email.
Sure.
That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to, that's all I'm saying. Because sometimes if there's stuff that goes on and I need help too. I'm working on projects. I need help.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may, can
Yes.
Mr. Secretary Treasurer, in the last meeting, you kind of grilled us on who we support, if we're gonna, support you, if we support the DFL. To me, that's, that was kind of out of line because I don't have to tell anyone who I support, for one thing. But I do have some questions for you since you questioned us. Okay, how long have you been Secretary Treasurer here?
Little over 2 years.
Okay, in your postcards, you talk about healthcare. And I'm getting your postcards, so I see them. We have enrolled members that are not getting the best of care and being asked how they will pay for their care and medications. How would you make changes to better this for our reservation?
So are you making my candidacy part of the discussion?
Well, you did.
Well, I only brought it up because he did under I-65.
Well, you grilled me, so I want to grill you. I'm trying to make a fair decision, and
Sure.
you asked all the RBC to endorse you.
Well, I asked you, what is your position?
No, you asked for endorsement.
Yeah, and I think he said I had it, didn't he?
Now, as council, we can't, that's conflict of interest. We can't endorse someone. We can't do that.
But I'm just asking questions,
So I'll tell you what, because you do not want to discuss my candidacy in an RBC meeting.
But you did.
Only because he brought it up. But
Well, I'm
happy.
bringing it up.
Yes, and I'm happy, based upon your comments, to schedule a meeting with you after hours to discuss my candidacy campaign.
Well, it's not only me that wants to know. Why don't you schedule a meeting with our members?
Well, they're more than happy to reach out to the campaign.
So it's okay for you to sit there and grill us about
I
who we're
only,
gonna vote for, who we're gonna endorse, but I can't even ask you a few simple questions?
because he had asked me in open session.
Well, I'm asking you in an open session also,
Yes, and
because the members deserve to know also, and I wanna make an informed decision myself on who I wanna vote for.
you're happy to reach out to the campaign.
Okay. Then that answers my question. Any questions?
All right, guys. So we're gonna table the meeting minutes, review of the calendar.
Okay, on the 19th, Mr. Chairman, I'm going back to Cass Lake for the
Okay.
meeting. And that is at 5:30 p.m. And then November 3rd, they will have another meeting at, I think they said 5:30. So I'll be adding into my calendar.
And then, Rick Holland and Leo Blair asked me if I would attend the 19th meeting because they want to talk about some budget stuff they requested most.
Okay.
And of course, the 24th after the TEC, Mr. Chairman, I'll be in Minneapolis.
Okay.
For the give out.
I know they're doing travel ID cards on in Minneapolis. Anything else?
I would just like to know, just so everyone's aware, is that tribal DHS legislative summit that's noted on Friday, October 2nd, is actually going on right now on the 8th, and it's going on. It started at 8:45. That's what I was on before I came down, and then it's going until 3 o'clock.
Be good. All right.
As you said, the 19th, huh?
Yep.
That's the next meeting?
Yes, they wanted to go over budget. But their next regular meeting is November 3rd, I do believe.
Esther,
Good morning.
you're here for some tarot updates.
Yeah, so, I had sent Maria a copy of this, it's just a letter to give you all the numbers of where we're at and, just detailed information about the services that Tara provides to people that live on the reservation. Right now, we were doing a lot of training last year and we had a training plan in place for 2020, but with MnDOT and everyone, they can't do any in-person hands-on training due to the pandemic. So last year we had 124 people that completed construction-related training, and then there's a list of all of our partners, who's all in our training network. And so there's construction training, and then the other pieces are the GIJA temporary employment, and then the day labor program, and then we also place people on construction jobs. And I've been working really closely with Lenny on some suggestions for an update to our tarot ordinance so that we can increase the number of people that we can place onto construction projects that are under tarot jurisdiction. So, but another real important thing that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to is the GIJA temporary employment. So it's just been increasing. We have more GIJA people placed. Right now, there's 144 people on the GIJA list that have applied for temporary employment. In fiscal year 2019, the GIJA people we placed for White Earth and the casino, they earned almost $700,000 in wages. And then I started the report for fiscal year 20, and I still have some payrolls to come in for the end of September. But for the first 3 quarters of 2020, GIJA temporary employees worked at White Earth RBC almost 31,000 hours. But then at the casino, they only put in 1,542 hours. And that's because it was closed due to the pandemic. So I'd like to ask for support to try to increase the number of GIJA workers at the casino, if we could push that a little bit more. Because I know that they use temporary employment agency out of Fargo, and I think that they can use the tarot people that we have. Because we have a lot of people that want to work.
I think we're working on a drug policy too over here on this side of the government side. I know we talked about it last week, is that we're looking at implementing a new policy where we do away with like mimic IHS's policy. So I think that's something that would benefit GIJA and the government side, because right now the green jobs are just on the commercial side, which is the shooting star casino enterprises. So
yeah, that would be great. So right now, when we send anyone onto construction or GIJA temporary employment, they are drug tested and they complete a background check first, just for their suitability as far as their background. But if there was, so for GIJA though, construction, you can't have any like marijuana in case they need to pass also the DOT drug test, and then it would, the contractors, they have their own insurance policies where there's none allowed whatsoever. But as far as GIJA, if we could update our policy that says, you know, they would be included under the green jobs for casino or White Earth Enterprises, that would be great. I think it'd be just a simple policy change. I don't know if we would need a resolution or anything like that. Or if we could just do that as an in-house thing.
Yeah, I think we'll just do a policy.
Be an in-house policy. Yeah. And then I also wanted to talk about the day labor. We started day labor on July 14th. And the day labor workers, they're cleaning up illegal dumping on the reservation that's increased due to the pandemic. And it was deemed a public and environmental health risk to the residents, water, and overall environment on the res. Right now, we have 115 people that are on the day labor list, and we have more that call every day. There's 47 people who have worked day labor so far. They've earned about, in 27 days of work, they've earned about $24,000 in cash wages. We don't really wouldn't term it a wage, it's just cash payment of $75 a day. There's no taxes or application or nothing like that, because it's all considered cultural. They're cleaning the environment, and they're also working on cemeteries. They completed the Rice Lake Cemetery. They installed the fence and cleaned it up, and then yesterday they went to the Old Pine Point Cemetery, and no one had even asked them to. There's a huge illegal dump behind the Old Pine Point Cemetery, and no one asked them to, but the first thing they did was actually clean the cemetery. They raked it and did a weed whack and get everything cleaned up, and then they're gonna go behind there, and there's a huge illegal dump. And how it works right now is we'll notify the county natural resources people, like from Becker County, they work with us a lot, and then we get a hold of Al Fox, and then we get verification of the actual land that we're going on to, as well as NCT, Becker County, whatever, but we got it all worked out now. We're either roads, sanitation, or Becker County, depending on the status of the land, will haul all the garbage away. So they've only worked 43 days, and they work a 6-hour day, and so far they've cleaned up almost 322 tons of garbage, appliances, car tires, and that's off all the roadways, trails, forests, and reservation. And then after they finish Pine Point, they're probably gonna be up to about 700,000 pounds of garbage that they've cleaned up. So it's a really good thing, and they love doing it. And if there was other avenues, other ways that we could get it, then there's other areas of working, especially during the pandemic. Until the end of December, and it's all outdoor work right now. So and it's gonna get pretty cold, and they don't have, like winter coats, bibs, winter gear, and we would definitely need to consider that. Right now, Terrell provides their PPE, hand sanitizers and masks and stuff from us, and we're just kind of doing the best that we can. But if we want to keep this going, we definitely have to think about some indoor type of work for them.
One of the things that Esther and I talked about, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Ed Snetzing or anybody on the EOC yet, but we had talked about utilizing day labor workers for the deep cleaning of our facilities, and how that would probably be a better use of resources. And we could use CARES Act funding to pay for that portion of it, rather than, because I know that they've got these strike teams that are kind of going around, and just to make sure that, the people that we have actually doing the deep cleaning, they're the ones who would probably benefit the most financially from having something like that.
And they do a really good job. Like they've cleaned up dumps, like the dump road out here, we started that in July, and we stopped, and then Becker County got a hold of us because we did the tribal land and then the ditches that were in the county right away, and they were so happy, and it was insane like how much garbage they took out of there, like 27 truckloads, the big, huge, like plow truck size ones. And the county got a hold of us, and they said, if we gave you guys all the garbage bags and we hauled everything out, and the tribe doesn't have to pay for the sanitation or equipment operators, but if you guys could come in and help us by hand picking and picking up the garbage. So we worked with them on that, and yeah, I think they were out there for like a week. So then we did ice cracking trail, and it took them, they kept finding dumps out there through the trails in the woods, and there's res land and county land, and they just cleaned the whole thing. It took them like 3 whole weeks, and it was just, that's why we're at almost 700,000 pounds of garbage picked up, because there's garbage out there from, they're finding mail magazines from like the 1970s. There's trees, like little trees growing through some of the piles of garbage, and they even would take pitchforks and everything and tear that all apart and rake it right down to the ground, so they do an awesome job, and they're so proud of the work that they do, that they're cleaning the environment. But if we could give them a chance, there's not a lot of other job opportunities right now, especially where they can make cash, but they don't have to worry about any of that other stuff. And if it's cultural, and if we could use them to clean facilities, especially if any buildings or, if it's an environmental or public health hazard, if it's covered under the CARES Act.
I think that you should put on like a little flyer how we get, how many people you got out there?
They had 5. Yeah,
for each district, I think that's something that we were talking about, maybe growing into that, where each district gets their own coordinator and amount of workers and those.
Yeah.
And I think that we were looking at areas of like you talked about service areas where they need to be cleaned, they need to be, everywhere we talked about fixing elders' houses, like taking the roofs off or even nailing up plastic, that would even help.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
So I mean, there's so, it's endless with day labor.
And
I
they,
think
a lot of the day labor workers already now, they know elders that have, you know, like garbage or, you know, overgrown brush or whatever in their yard that they want, and it's like, we did do one elder's, house on 113 the other day, I called sanitation, they dropped a container off in our crew in there, and like 4 hours, it was all done, and she actually owns that property, so I said, well, it's within the reservation boundaries, and maybe it's technically, she's a, you know, tribal member, so she gave us her handwritten petition, and they got it done, she was really happy, so there's ways to do it, and if everybody works together, and now everybody needs to be able to make a little bit of money, you know.
What about, elders that need like their house work done, is that, as long as they don't go inside, is that new or?
I don't know, we don't have any rules yet, we're kind of hoping, like I talked to Dennis yesterday, at housing, and he's got 8 vacant units that they need cleaned right away, and I was like, well, I mean, if it was allowable, but even under the CARES Act, if that could reimburse the labor and the PPE, and then maybe even the cleaning supplies, I mean, if it's, you know, because of the homelessness and the pandemic, you know, if there was a way. So me, Dennis, and Lenny, we're all kind of trying to work on that plan, and if we can figure out a way where it's all legal and everything, yeah, then we'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, because I still got an elder that's not so trying to get his work done, and he can't do it, you know, he's got health problems. But that would be great if we can help him get it, I mean, he's got the material, you know, it's just, he can't do it. And he's trying to get it done before winter.
It's kind of bare bones, you know what I mean? We have 2 people that work re-entry at the casino, and then they volunteered to come on as the day labor site supervisors for us temporarily, but I think they want to go back to their jobs at re-entry at the casino because the green jobs, you know, it's gonna get a lot busier there, and they've just been a huge, tremendous help to us on the job every day, you know. But that's not their job, you know, is to be the day labor supervisors. They're employment coaches for the casino, so we could really use 2 people, if anyone's interested. I don't know if you want them to do like an RBC application to be, which is probably what they would have.
Well, work with the HR director.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yep.
You guys will find a solution.
So it'll take us another week or 2 to kind of get everything more improved, but that's definitely what we want to do.
I have another question, this might be one, I don't know, they use payroll for the elderly to, deliver meals and that, but now they're told that they can't use the RTC vehicles.
Oh, no.
Because they're not full-time employees. But during COVID, is that something we can, change just during the COVID? Because, you know, they're short of staff and they need to get the meals out to our elderly, so I don't know if that's something we can do, or is it?
I think that's something
Insurance,
that's something we gotta take up with Nicole, and Nicole is the one that put a stop to that because of insurance problems.
Well,
Insurance
and our I'm pretty sure the insurance policy would only cover full-time employees, and so that's something that we want to get into, and maybe we can talk to our insurance broker and say, hey, this is the area.
The majority of them are working over 32 hours, so they can almost be considered full-time employees. Now, I don't know who gives Nicole the right to say who can drive and who can't. I mean, I think that should be a council decision, not Nicole decision.
But yeah, they're being awesome, and, you know, if we can figure out a way to keep them, if we, you know, can we hire them?
And I think that that's the solution there, is finding a creative way to make sure that whatever they're doing fits within the bounds of our insurance policy, so that our vehicles and the drivers remain covered, and we're still able to provide the services we need to provide.
Because we need them up there. I think we got one up there that drives on a daily basis, and now they cut it off yesterday, and now that hurts one of our routes.
Yeah, we don't want that. We want our elders to be getting the food they need, so. Well, I'll meet with Nicole and see if we can come up with a solution here, and we can present it to council next week.
Sooner, I'd like it sooner, because we need this lady back up to drive.
I don't know how many it affected, but it was just brought to my attention this morning, and I would ask, since I see Carol on the agenda, so that would work out well.
You know, Sandy always places people that she, that depending on their background or whatever their requirements are for the position as if you were gonna be hired as a regular employee. And then making sure that they have a driver's license. And the ones that can't drive, I was just helping in the kitchen, but the ones with the license, that, you need it, especially now, you guys are delivering tons of meals. So.
And that was one thing too, that, bring up to council, if we could spend COVID money on reinstatement fees, I don't know, can we do that, man?
Well, no, I wouldn't say just blanket, yes, we can do that. I think.
Like a return to work type thing, if we use it for getting a job for more of a.
And if we can tie it to our response to the pandemic, that's the big thing right there. And if so in limited circumstances that we can tie to responding to the pandemic, then yes, I think we can.
Well, I think that would come with saying something like, with more licensed drivers, we'd be able to accommodate more of our elder members and all members, just,
What about tarot fees? Could you use tarot fees that are collected? Because those is that like, the tribe can use it at their discretion?
Pretty much anything.
We could use the tarot fees too.
Yeah, I mean, we could do, help sponsor, I guess, some of these unlicensed drivers pay their reinstatement fees. I don't know, part of them, I don't know.
And I think the state moved stuff online, because I seen an article the other day that now you can take your Minnesota driver's knowledge test online. So like, that's something you can set up at the complex or workforce center, laptops, everybody get their test done. Have finance pay the fee online
And some
print off
of
their
them,
status, driver status, and
Yeah.
you're good to go.
because some of them are like, not big fines, some of them are maybe, not fines for reinstatement,
Yeah.
some of them might be only $20 or, whatever, but that would be awesome if we could do something like that for our members.
I know boat rehab used to be.
If that were possible, then I would like to see some of these ones that are looking for IDs and to be waived to them, to pay for IDs, because a lot of our members don't have IDs, and they gotta pay for those, so.
Well, I've
We're
been
gonna do it
paying
for one program, I don't see why we couldn't do it for others.
I've been
Yeah.
paying for some IDs,
Yeah, I think we've all been paying for IDs, and I think that's something that, we've always been, doing our due diligence when it comes to that, so. But yeah, that's a good point too, Ray. We should be able to sponsor that too, especially if they're applying for a job anywhere, even offers, they need an ID, we should be able to help them with that.
Yeah, all the programs at the workforce center, they all pay for IDs too, because you have to have at least two just to apply for a job, or just a drug test, you have a valid ID, so. There are a lot of programs too, so it's needed for people to the programs. That'd be a good way to, save your money in your budget and have the programs for the fee.
I would just like to know, though, just to go back to the tarot ordinance. Esther and I met and we've been talking about the Wobbin School project and the possibility of obtaining a tarot fee for that project. And unfortunately, our jurisdiction to collect that tarot fee would be a little murky because of the source of funds. And so what Esther and I in meeting have decided was that we won't be pursuing a tarot fee for that project.
Which one?
The Wobbin School project.
Okay.
Because the funding source that's being used is bond funding, and so it's like local sourced public funding. And so under the US versus Montana case, our tribal jurisdiction over that project is murky at best. I know that other tribal tarots that have tried to collect tarot fees for similarly funded projects in the state of Minnesota, they haven't been successful. And so then rather than fight on trying to get a tarot fee and maybe raise tensions, or we don't need to raise tensions, we're going to work with the contractors and make sure that they have a compliance plan in place, because we do have jurisdiction for that. And that the Indian preference, that the contractor is using Indian preference, and that we have tarot workers working on the construction project, which collecting the fee is a little bit of a loss, but at least we'll have Native people working at the construction site.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if we could, as long as we got in here, this vehicle for the day labor, I certainly agree that they should have a vehicle, because up in Rice Lake now, they were carrying these pipes from the garage all the way over to the thing, because the lady couldn't fit them in her vehicle. So I just happened to be there, and we loaded them in my truck, and I hauled them over for them, but, I mean, there's some places where they, you know, if we got a tax vehicle or something that we could loan them or let them use, or it would make quite a difference for a day labor program, right?
Okay. Well, we'll work on
So if we
that.
can find a vehicle for them, a pickup, that would be excellent, or even a van or something that they could carry their stuff in.
Yeah, because they usually bring like 3 wheelbarrows and tons of hand tools, you know, rakes, pitchforks, shovels.
There's a big
Plus you have all the
trailer.
garbage bags, all the water and PPE. So right now we have 2 people, their vehicles are completely packed with, and it's their own personal vehicles. Then they take those home with them at night and just keep it loaded because they move to different sites every day. So yeah, if we had a pickup.
Well, I would probably get
Would be
a
awesome.
list, Esther, get like a big trailer, get an enclosed trailer, so you can
Yeah.
haul all your stuff, so you can have everything go the next day and just hook up to it
Yeah.
and pull it, add it out. And have a big long trailer, like Ray said, is like if you get a haul some of the pipes or some of that material that's bigger than 8 feet, you know, that can't fit in the back of a truck, but then you probably want a big trailer to haul it to the other site or whatever you're gonna haul it to, so. Let's get something ordered, a list ready so we can approve it.
Okay.
You guys must have money too. Well, we can get money, so.
Yeah, day labor program, I feel is doing excellent. They did an excellent job on our cemetery up there. I thank God they finally got that ready and can use. So they did make quite a difference.
You good? You good, Justin?
All right, well, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, thank you.
Send in, Michael.
Okay.
No, you have a Roman for the MTV radio.
No, they're asking for what, $2,500?
Here's the
Oh, there's one.
Good morning.
We'll go back next.
Morning, we'll join us.
Morning, Mike.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
I asked Mike to be here today, Mr. Chair, because we're having problems with that road up there. We need money, and I know we've talked about it many times, but we have never voted on it or where it's coming from, or, you know, they said the CARES Act money, then they said the COVID money, and these roads, this road has got to get built in order to get these houses built. And I appreciate Mike because he said he can help out, but they're so doggone busy and they're short because of this pandemic. I need to get this road done. And we gotta find the money for it. Matt Gordon said it'd be about 25,000, but that's after road said they would help out and all what they could do.
So, you know, our process to do this is gonna take a year. To be able to access money to do this.
BIA money. To get access BIA money.
Correct.
No, but that's their money to the BIA, but we can approve other money from either from the CARES Act or the COVID money, is what I'm saying, to get this road done, because like he said, it'd take a year, and we don't have a year.
Scott, is it possible to use something like that?
Well, let me, I have a question. In general, capital projects are not allowed.
Yep.
But you can establish temporary public medical facilities, other measures to increase COVID treatment capacity or improve mitigation. Now, I think I've heard, at least for homeless people, are they for people that have way too many people in their house?
It's for overcrowding, I think these 4 houses are 4.
Okay,
It's
so
for overcrowding
overcrowding,
homes.
so we're gonna reduce overcrowding and we're gonna mitigate COVID. So, and it was COVID money that paid for this housing, I heard from housing. So it would seem reasonable to me that we could take COVID CARES money to help make access to these homes, because the homes were COVID money, and we are mitigating and reducing people in homes.
Yep.
So that's what, if you would agree on, that's what I'd say.
Do we need a vote on that, or can you, because,
I think you could put together a budget and I guess we
which
can.
Gordon, not Gordon got one. on the road.
I mean, he needs to do it immediately, doesn't he?
Huh?
This job needs to be done like next week or something,
It should have been done a month ago, put it that way.
because the homes are coming very shortly.
And then the bad thing is without water and sewer being shy down there, now we're scrambling to try to get water and sewer in there, but there again, Matt Gordon said he's got a bore that can bore under the road rather than tear the road all up because that's brand new tar there. So he said he'd bore underneath there, so he wants money for that also. Otherwise, we gotta tear that road up.
Put in a,
They did give an
a
estimate
bid.
for that work.
for Rice Lake,
They did give an estimate for that work.
81,000
Yep.
for water and sewer to do just your district.
And then,
But it was
Almost
never acted
82,000.
upon. We did say yeah, but it was never acted upon their work was gonna come.
But that's high, I think.
but what they did is that included the water. And what housing agreed to do was put individual wells in there to reduce that price. So water and sewer, if I remember right, is gonna be right on between $32,000 and $35,000 for that. You get the water in there, or the sewer.
And this was money that was already appropriated by housing, and then all of a sudden they come up short. Because of this reason, that reason, so now it sticks us with it.
Do you attend their meetings? Aren't you on there? Because they
No,
were talking,
I got a guy that sits on there that fills me in on the meetings, and I do get the minutes.
yeah, and they talked about that a lot and, you know, expenses do come up, right? And it's not like they don't, but,
Well, I understand that, Andy, but
But
why
this
wait
is-
till the last minute to tell me about it?
well, cause they just
when
found
they-
out about
When
it,
6
right?
months ago, we approved this to get it done.
Who approved it? Out of which fund then?
I don't know, look in the minutes, Andy. All you gotta do is request the minutes. I mean, simple as that. Everything's on black and white. That was even
They approved the homes, I do believe.
Michael,
Excuse me.
okay, can we get this, Scott, use CARES money to build a road and get the road, do they have to do the water and sewer at the same time, or do they build a road first?
Well, the water and sewer, the water is gonna be individual wells. And the estimate that Ellison gave the housing authority included hookup. I don't know what that price is. The price for the sewer is about between $32,000 and $35,000 for those three homes.
And so was housing gonna pay for?
We're gonna put separate, they're gonna put separate.
Raymond, did
My
you talk
understanding is
to,
housing will pay for wells, but I don't know
Dennis?
where that money is coming from.
Did you ask Dennis? Raymond,
What?
did you ask Dennis?
Yeah, I just talked to him yesterday.
And he said that they had to get their own water and sewer?
Yep, we gotta find money for the water and sewer. But supposedly it was already in the budget before, but what happened to it, I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
what
so
happened?
rather than tying into the main
It
line,
was
the sewers, they're gonna
included.
put their own sewers in?
No, for those three homes, they're gonna have individual wells.
Okay,
The sewer will be connected up to the community system.
Okay.
So that's the new price that water and sewer gave housing.
But if they set them homes in there during the winter with no water and sewer, nobody in there, somebody's gonna bust in there, they're gonna bust them houses up. And there ain't no sense bringing them if we can't get the water and sewer in over the road.
So we had submitted a proposal to bring some people on to work on that. Just because of all the systems for scattered site that they're trying to finish before freeze up. So we submitted that proposal and the executive director has that. So bringing on additional staff so we could do those activities. But I heard that was close to being approved, but I haven't seen anything.
Ray, so I guess my question for that project is there expansion for more houses in? Is there more area, so then it's best to bring in the sewer system instead of
Yeah.
doing
We got that
a
whole
septic
big
tank?
field there where our demolition derby places, we got that whole big field.
So you advise putting in a sewer system? Okay. Okay. I was thinking, why don't we just put it in?
Well, with that,
Before you guys get too far ahead of your skis now.
water and sewer, would that be an eligible cost for COVID?
Well, this is,
Falls under-
well,
Yeah, mitigation.
well, this is what I want, as treasurer, because ultimately it's gonna, when the audits come, they're gonna be looking at me, you, and you. And so, if you're gonna do it, have a legal opinion, both your names on it. Say, hey, this is why we believe we can spend this money in this manner.
And I think that part of that would also have to include, the housing authority's action in approving the houses and why they did and, you know, what planning went into how we got here without having a plan for water and sewer and without road. You know, that infrastructure should be part of that planning that's done on the front end. So, but I mean, I agree that there does need to be a paper trail so that we can justify the expenses.
So would that include roads, water, and sewer then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put on a piece of paper and take a look at it.
So we need to talk to the executive director and find out the status on the additional staff members.
Mr. Chairman, this is Laura York. I am on the line, and Mr. Bowman is correct. He did send a memorandum of information to me on September 28th, and then I forwarded that information to Mr. Chairman on October 6th, requesting if there should be a discussion at the council meeting here, or if it was going to go into executive session for a decision. But Mr. Bowman is correct. I do have the information.
Yeah, I think we have to do our due diligence with work on, so it's pulling together. Hopefully, we can improve it real quick, Ray, and get it
Yeah,
going.
but the houses are put, I talked to Dennis yesterday, and they wanna get the houses in within 2 weeks.
Yeah, so.
Otherwise, they're gonna have to wait until,
Spring.
next spring.
We've been
Then
working,
you're not gonna be able to use CARES money,
Yeah.
What?
because it's after December 30th.
We have to expend the money
You
by
have to
then.
spend the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we can get the houses in
I
within 2
agree.
weeks.
Yes, we
They
cannot.
can set the houses in, but we need water and sewer. There's no, like I said, there's no sense putting houses there if you're gonna put water and sewer in, because somebody will bust in and break it up. It happens every time.
Yep, we agree.
Great. So if we can approve that, I would like that done today, because then I can let Dennis know to continue working, because he is anxious to get on it.
and then we need to order materials and get that stuff ready.
Well, how soon can you guys get how soon can you get a valid opinion then?
It depends on how fast I can get the information from housing authority and what offers to this point.
Visit early next week.
And if you can, like, work with Dennis, because I talked to him yesterday, and he's all in favor of going with this, but he just needs your help and water and sewer. And with that, with us passing this today, then he can get right on it. They got backhoes up there too, that they can help dig the trenches for water and sewer.
Well, we would donate the heavy equipment for that, so that this additional staff can come in and knock this stuff off.
Sounds good.
Let's give it.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the additional staff wages was approximately 36,000 for 5 pay periods. There'd be temporary positions for those 5 folks to come on. In addition to this, there's quoted work performed from Whiter's Housing for 120,469. And when I reviewed the information, my recommendation would be to make a decision on it and move forward with the project. I mean, it's going to be time sensitive, weather sensitive, that type of thing right now. So that would be my recommendation. Big wish.
All right. Okay, together. Make wish, Mike.
Thank you.
We'll try to get her going,
Very
right?
good, gentlemen. Thank you, Mike.
You guys take care. Have a good day.
All right, we're roaming out there, Scott?
Yes.
Send them in.
Morning, everybody.
Mm. All right.
So I'm in to talk about and discuss the Niji radio sponsorship this morning. It's the same as we've done for, I believe, the past couple of years. The amount hasn't changed. It's stayed the same, so it's $2,500 for the year. We do get daily mentions. I've monitored the station over the past probably 3 weeks, and we actually get quite a bit of mentions, the RBC, and we get good coverage out of that radio station. You pop on their website, we're the top sponsor with the Lighters logo right on there. That clicks right to lighters.com. We do get a 30-second daily ad. We can update that as many times as we want. We just have to send them, what we want them to say, and they'll cut the ad, and then they play it. It's just a great community relationship opportunity. A lot of tribal members listen to that radio station, so it really isn't changing anything for us. It does just continue that great relationship, and as I said, same amount of money as it was last year and the year before. So just asking for permission to move that forward.
And how much?
$2,500 for the year. I think that last year that came out of I think the admin general fund, I think.
Yeah, that's how we pay for it always.
And make a motion.
Second.
Oh, that was MPCA, so. But okay, motion to approve the, your new, is it a contract with EG Radio?
Yeah, just the radio sponsorship.
Kathy motion.
Okay, motion by Kathy, second by Alan, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ron.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Meet Rich. The next up is Tanya Bowl.
Hello.
On in.
So I have Jody Sunderland, City 52, and we did meet with Representative Oganok yesterday, and we were wanting to do an update to the council on the Child Advocacy Center development and our grant.
Okay.
So I do have concerns that we have some pretty big grants that we aren't being able to get them spent down. Just in this year and last year, we have close to 1.6 million that is specific to Child Advocacy Center services. And we had a meeting with one of our TA providers on September 16th that stated that the Office on Victims of Crime will no longer be allowing grant extensions, which is something that we have had to utilize quite in the past. So my question is, would we be able to move forward on hiring positions in these grants specific for the CAC?
Repeat that, hiring what?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Kathy's asking about hiring more positions for these grants. Is that what?
What? Who?
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Jody Sunderland. I'm the CAC coordinator. So basically what the Child Advocacy Center does is the first tribal child advocacy center in the state. And we will be providing forensic interviews for children who've experienced child abuse and sexual assault, as well as the forensic medical exams in collaboration with our nurses, Lindsay MacArthur, Daniel Darko, and Mina Spala. We are also working with Dr. Graff of Mayo, and he's going to be kind of our guiding light. He's the national expert on child abuse. Because right now, all of our kids, even though we're shut down, child abuse and child sexual abuse is still happening. And our kids are being sent to Red River in Fargo and Bemidji, which, I mean, they've been providing great services, don't get me wrong, but that's a lot of windshield time for our kids who are going through trauma to be traveling, and they're non-offending caregivers as well as our investigators. So Why send them that far when we can provide these services right here on the reservation?
Yep.
We're also going to be providing counseling. We're waiting to hire our mental health professional. We have the money, we just need the go-ahead. And that's a crucial piece to healing for our kids. We do a lot of support groups, and what we're finding the last 10 years is, you know, when we go into these chemical dependency facilities or we meet with just people out in the public, a lot of the reasons for them to start, you know, using alcohol or drugs is because of some type of trauma that they experienced. They're using the drugs and the alcohol to numb out as a negative coping mechanism. So it's really crucial that we use this Child Advocacy Center as a time to intervene and help these kids heal from the trauma that they've endured and provide them with culturally appropriate, positive coping mechanisms. So what we're asking for is we have the funding, we just need the go-ahead to hire our forensic interviewer, our forensic mental health professional, an advocate, our receptionist.
Tanya.
Yes.
Yeah, just get those to Nicola. That's all you have to do is just bring them over to Nicola. I mean, get them to your director, your new director, and go work with him and work with Nicole. If you need Lenny's help, Lenny's here at your services. And if you got the money in the grant to bring on therapists, bring them on. You know, I know this is one thing that we all support at our table here is something to do with our families and our children and our parenting is like we're all in support of that. So, but yeah, I'll have Lori will reach back out to you and talk to you about that too. Okay.
And where was that building you were talking about, Tanya?
That was our Child Advocacy Center. That is the new building that we are working on in Nadawash. It's on Workforce Drive, kind of like the same road where Uwanapin is at.
Right.
And we have, I'm sorry?
Right, I agree with you. It's, you know, I want to see it started. And I'll make the motion if you do need a motion, but I believe if you turn in all your job duties to him, he'll get it out.
Okay, and I have been in contact with HR and have made requests to do the hiring. And I did send an email out on September 16th just to my director to see what we were able to do if we could move forward. And it was communicated to me that all new hires are on hold due to COVID. And then sorry, there.
But if you have the money, why does he have to go through COVID?
If this is Lori, may I have a few minutes here?
Yes.
To respond? Okay, thank you. So it was my understanding that there was issues with the grant because you weren't extending the funding out. You wouldn't, even if you hired the people and put them in place, you wouldn't be able to meet the requirements and the outcomes of the grant. That's how that information was presented to me. So then if you're not successful with the grant at the end of the period, that would potentially affect your next grant, your future grant, and the opportunities for those grants because you didn't meet your goals of this grant because those things weren't implemented in a timely manner from the beginning. Is that correct?
So
Guys, we can talk about this later. So let's work on this together in-house. Let's get it fixed. Okay? Miigwech. All right, we'll go. Next up on the agenda is we're gonna go on break. So look at it.
Alicia, could you call me back?
Yes, I can, Kath.
Thanks, kid.
You're welcome.